Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Lange Sohne Langematik Perpetual from the Saxonia family. You can see and you can purchase this micro-rotor automatic perpetual calendar in platinum on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this Langematik Perpetual with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this platinum perpetual calendar. The watch on my wrist is part of a family of perpetual calendars that debuted back in 2001 and continues to go strong today. 38.5 millimeters across the round of the case and 10.4 millimeters thick with a generously domed bezel. This is a just right dress watch size that incorporates immense capability and complexity in a compact and wearable package. Across the wrist, it's a very reasonable 46.9 millimeters. I would say that you could wear this watch on a wrist down to as small as 13 to 13.5 centimeters in circumference, with comfort and security, as well as a handsome proportion on the wrist. You can see it's nowhere near pushing the edges of my wrist, and my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference and oval in profile. Now the strap is of high quality, and as you can see, it's unconstrained. You can pull straight down if you have a smaller wrist. There is a high gloss rectangular scale black alligator leather strap with a monotone stitch and folded edges, black calfskin on the underside, and Lange's characteristic polished and faceted Lange engraved pin buckle with that smart retaining bar design. So if you do have a smaller wrist and you buckle the watch down to the smallest hole, sometimes that can lead to a watch getting stuck on the wrist, as the strap is literally pressed against the ardion or the pin so hard and so tightly you can't lift it off. Well, this retaining bar prevents the strap from getting pinned on the pin, so you can remove the watch if you do happen to strap it down tightly. The case is simple and characteristically Lange. Seemingly a hybrid of a pocket watch and a wristwatch, it has a little bit of the pot-bellied profile of a pocket watch with strong, independent, and stepped-out lugs that are iconic of modern Lange wristwatch styling design language. You'll also note that there are numerous elements to provide contrast and definition. The polish of the bezel, both the domed portion and the horizontal portion, the polish of the case back in contrast with the satin finish of the flanks of the case, and the polish of the lug flanks themselves, which are also in contrast to the horizontal finish of the case. And again, thanks to that dramatic step between lug and case flank, they come across as very distinct and separate sculptural elements of the watch. Now turning to the dial itself, you can see that this is a grayscale timepiece. Since it's not on my wrist, we may as well zoom in a bit. There's a dial of silver that features a dark silver or ruthenium style coloration. Think of it as a dark silver, not quite anthracite. This is a watch that has immense dial detail and a number of smart decisions. First, there is the evocative and the historic. There is the railroad track outboard for tracing the minutes. There are the sunken concentric registers, for example, for the time of day, the 24-hour cycle, your AM, PM, or danger zone indicator, and your day of the week. You have your leap year cycle indicator, and of course you have your month indicator, you have your small seconds, you have your solid gold moon phase disc, which is mechanically programmed out to over 122 years between adjustments. You have the double digit date, and you have the pusher adjuster, which is a tactile pleasure to operate that allows you to adjust the date itself, set within a white gold double aperture. Stylized Roman numerals characteristic of the Saxonia family on a slightly upward stepped hour track. There are small amounts of luminescence on the alpha style or pinched triangular hands at center, and there will be a lume shot to showcase this watch's meager but usable luminescence at the end of the video. You'll also note, if you check out the constant seconds at 6 o'clock, that the Saxomat caliber features a zero reset hacking function. So not simply hacking, but you do actually have a zero reset for easy synchronization to your reference time. The watch, an absolute pleasure to wind, is on the refined or creamy side of the tactile feedback scale. If you can imagine something like a Unitas 6497 or ETA 6497 being about as mechanical as it gets, this is hyper refined. This is silky smooth. This is the click so creamy you can barely even feel it. Lange, if nothing else, wants you to feel like you're driving a Mercedes on the wrist, and you certainly get that impression. And not just from the tactile sensations, but from the sights. This is the sensational Saxomat automatic caliber. Development started in 1992. It came to market around 1996. Now, it is fantastic to behold, but let's talk about the basic specifications. Micro rotor automatic, 46-hour power reserve, beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Of course, we saw it has both hacking and a zero reset function for the seconds. It also has an immense amount of inherent complexity, as there are 478 parts and 43 jewels. You'll also note that there's a tremendous amount of inherent artistry. As I turn the watch flush to the camera, you can see that even the cap on top, this is the ratchet wheel on top of the barrel. You can see the ratchet wheel has been black polished. So too have some of the screws. The screws used for physical assembly tend to be blued. Those used for adjustment tend to be of high polish, the two exceptions being the case clamp screws that are diagonally opposed. And you can see everything that's black polished, including the cover for the escape wheel and the swan's neck regulator atop the balance, turning black when I move the watch flush or square to the camera. You'll also note the glint and the gleam off the edge of the bridges. Beautiful, mirrored, it would be called anglage in the French-speaking watchmaking regions. I better bone up on my German watchmaking vocabulary to come up with a word for it in Saxony, but you can see the glasuta stripes across the bridges, another hallmark of German watch decoration in the modern era. A thin and beautifully even micro perlage across the base plate. You'll note that the winding mass itself is extraordinary in that it features gold, not brass, not gold plating, but actual gold for the rotor, and then blued screws fixing a platinum mass, PT950, that actually increases the moment of inertia, so you have a remarkably rich rotor. You also have the 3/4 style plate. It's not a 3/4 plate, but it is built to resemble a 3/4 plate in homage to the pocket watch era of Lange. And finally, every Lange does have that hand-engraved balance cock, freehand engraved, not stamped, not guilloché, executed so that no two are exactly alike, but the signature or the pattern is distinctive of the artisan who crafted the piece. So you can, if you ever go back to the manufacturer in glasuta, you can actually match your watch to the person who created that component for your watch. Automatic, perpetually precise, and perfectly sized, this platinum Saxonia family Langematik Perpetual can be seen and owned on our website. Alright, a Lange Sohne Langematik Perpetual. As you can see, you can just distinguish the hours, you can just distinguish the minutes, and you can distinguish the stations of the hours. See it and own it by the light of day on our website.